Hey there, this is Jexy with the Systems Alliance, and in this video, we're going to go ahead and go over this weekend's box office, where Aquaman finishes number 1, followed by Mary Poppins and Bumblebee. So as expected, finishing number 1 this weekend was Aquaman, finishing at $51.55 million domestic, and that's dropping only 23.5% from last week. And that represents the smallest drop of any DCEU movie to date. That pushed its domestic total to $188 million, and internationally it finished with $85.4 million this weekend as well. With that number, its international total stands at $560 million, and its global total now stands just shy of $750 million. So this is a great result for Aquaman, WB, DC, everyone involved, because this movie definitely looks like it's going to reach $1 billion at this point. The previous smallest decline was from Wonder Woman, which obviously had great long legs at the box office and finished with a record haul domestically for the DCEU. Now, that being said, Wonder Woman was also by far the best reviewed movie and also meant a lot to a lot of people. Aquaman just seems more like a great blockbuster. You know, its reviews are positive, but it's not getting the same type of reviews and the same type of talk that Wonder Woman got. That being said, it is playing great with audiences, and a lot of that very small drop that Aquaman just experienced can be attributed just to the fact that it's the weekend after Christmas. Between Christmas and New Year's, that's a great weekend for the box office because everyone's usually not at school, they're not at work, they're able to go see movies. So a lot of the movies this week held on really strong when you compare it to their last week, and Aquaman is no exception to that. Adjusted for inflation, Aquaman appears to be headed towards $1 billion like I mentioned, and so it seems to be destined to be the number 1 DCEU movie of all time if it does that. And when you adjust for inflation, Batman v Superman is number 1 at about $930 million. Number 4 is the 1989 Batman, which is about $950 million adjusted, so it seems like it's destined to pass that one too. The real question is whether or not Aquaman can touch any of the top 3. Coming in at third is Superman, the original movie from 1978, and that's coming in at $1.18 billion. And then you have both of the Dark Knights. Dark Knight Rises and then The Dark Knight is number 1, and those are both almost identical, around $1.29 billion. So will Aquaman catch it? Who knows? It's going to have great legs here in the United States because right now it's tracking well below all of those movies, but overseas it's actually tracking better than all of those movies. So we'll see if it can outweigh one or the other. Internationally, China is still Aquaman's top market with over $260 million. It opens up in Italy on New Year's Day, and the beginning of February it opens up in Japan. So there's still definitely more room for Aquaman growth in the future. Coming in number 2 this weekend was Mary Poppins Returns with estimated total of just over $28 million domestic. So this is great news for Mary Poppins because this marks a 19% increase over last weekend. So a lot of that is buoyed by the whole holiday season, this being a family-friendly movie, everything like that. So this outcome was actually kind of expected, so I'm not blown away by this at all. But the good part about it is that it's showing some legs. Before, it didn't look like it was going to do too well. You know, this was a movie that was supposed to potentially beat Aquaman at the box office. That is definitely not going to happen. There's no shot of that. So the fact that this is showing, oh, you know, maybe it can continue a decent box office run. Nothing like a blockbuster hit, but just a decent box office run, that's a positive for Mary Poppins Returns. And internationally, it brought in about the same $28.9 million. So total, it's just under $100 million domestically and about $75 million internationally. It opens in Australia and Russia next weekend, so we'll just have to see how good this movie holds up. Now coming in third is Bumblebee, dropping just 5% to finish at $20.5 million domestic. So another great hold story for this holiday season. Bumblebee really needs it because same with Mary Poppins, this movie was a possibility that it might go toe-to-toe with Aquaman and beat it. Who knows, maybe if it didn't beat it domestic, some were thinking, oh, it's definitely going to beat it international, but that is definitely not happening right now. And for a movie of, as far as the reviewers are concerned online, a very high quality and easily the best Transformers movie ever, you would think this movie would show some decent box office returns, but for whatever reason, it just isn't. Personally, I think there's just Transformers fatigue, especially once you look outside the first Transformers movie. You have 4 really bad movies, according to, you know, critics and fans. So this really doesn't look good for Bumblebee. It looks like audiences are just kind of done with Transformers. And its domestic total now stands at $66.7 million. So not really where anyone expected this to be, especially once the reviews came out and everyone was like, hey look, it's actually good, but I guess no one's seeing it. Internationally, Bumblebee brought in 45.7 million, and that total now stands at 90 million, so at least that's a decent total if you're just considering, okay, overall the movie's grossing a bit of money, but the budget was pretty high and it's still not bringing in nearly what even the lowest Transformers brought in previously. So is it Transformers fatigue? Some of my commenters have been saying so. A lot of other people have been saying so. You tell me, but to me, this one's not going to be a great moneymaker for Paramount. Coming in fourth place is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with 18.3 million, and that's an 11.2% improvement over last weekend, which was actually a huge drop for Spider-Man. So this is definitely looking good for its long-term prospects, or at least it's a nice reprieve from where it was heading to before. So even though it's an 11.2% increase, the drop last week was pretty steep, especially for a movie that's 1, Spider-Man, 2, getting great reviews, and 3, an animated movie in a family-friendly time. So we'll just have to see how this one holds up. But its domestic total now stands at 103.4 million, and internationally, Spider-Man added 27.4 million, and the global total now stands at 213 million. So taking a look at this global total for a movie like Spider-Man, which was supposed to go toe-to-toe with Aquaman at the box office, like all these other movies were supposed to, and, you know, I thought Aquaman was going to be number 1, but it wasn't a sure thing, you know. I wasn't 100% sure. A lot of these other movies could have exploded, but none of them seem to have. And Spider-Man, especially with the competition from both Aquaman and Bumblebee, and then if it's just supposed to be for the family, also trying to compete with Mary Poppins, this is a pretty tall task. Plus you still have animated features out there like Ralph Breaks the Internet. So with that 213.2 million, that's not even a third of what Aquaman is bringing in. So it doesn't look like Spider-Man is going to do what a lot of people thought it was going to do at the box office. And given its budget and marketing, it's not close to breaking even right now, but it definitely can break even, and I think it will. And I think it'll make a little bit of money. It just won't be a hit like so many were expecting. And rounding out the top 5 is Clint Eastwood's Mule, coming in at 11.78 million, and that's actually a 24% increase over last weekend. So once again, a huge bump for the holidays, and obviously great counter programming to the rest of the movies that are playing to similar audiences at the very least. This one's definitely playing to a different demographic, and it's having some success. Domestically, its total is now topping 60 million, and it hasn't been released internationally as of yet, so we'll have to see where this movie goes. Its budget was 50 million, so obviously it's not making money yet, but if it's opening big internationally, it could still make a lot of money, and for a movie like this, it could have some good legs as well. So that wraps up this weekend's box office report. Let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think about Aquaman just raking in all the cash? What do you think about it not only being the #1 movie in the DCU, but also passing billion, and then seeing where it ranks all time with DC if it can pass the original Superman and the Dark Knights? Let me know your thoughts on that, and also let me know your thoughts on Bumblebee. Do you think it's Transformers fatigue? Is that why you think this movie isn't doing well? And do you think they're going to make more Transformers movies with this one, which they actually did a good job on, but it's failing at the box office? Let me know what you think about Spider-Man. Are you disappointed with its performance? Did you think it was going to get more money? Personally, I did, so it is a little bit surprising, but let me know your thoughts on that. And let me know what you think about Mary Poppins Returns. Have you seen the movie? What do you think about it? Do you think it's as good as the original? I know that's almost an impossible task, but given the reviews and the box office, it seems like maybe that was an impossible task. So was that really the best call? Do you think it'll still have some good legs and make a profit for Disney? Or do you think they'll be disappointed in it and maybe calm down on all of these reboots and sequels and everything like that? Let me know your thoughts on all of this. Let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit me up on social media, and we'll catch you next time.